Hi guys, it's Amy of MastroStretch and Intuitive Eating, and today we're continuing our Intuitive Eating Principles series. If you missed the last video on discovering the satisfaction factor, you can click right here to watch that video. And if you like my channel, please subscribe to it by clicking right here. This week we're digging deep with principle number 7, cope with your feelings without using food. Yep, this is a big one, so buckle up. The definition of this principle is find ways to comfort, nurture, distract, and resolve your issues without using food. Anxiety, loneliness, boredom, and anger are all emotions we experience throughout life. Each has its own trigger and each has its own appeasement. Food won't fix any of these feelings. It may comfort you in the short term, distract you from the pain, or even numb you into a food hangover, but food won't solve the problem. If anything, eating for an emotional hunger will only make you feel worse in the long run. You ultimately have to deal with the source of the emotion as well as the discomfort from overeating. We have all experienced emotional eating, whether that's been to comfort ourselves, nurture our family, celebrate, or deal with a stressful event like a divorce or grief. And we all certainly have used it to cope with boredom. So I'm going to give you 5 steps to help with emotional eating. Step 1 is that first you need to determine if you're emotionally eating, or are you eating because you're not taking care of yourself? Or are you eating because you feel deprived from dieting? So if your self-care is lacking, you're not going to be able to recognize your body's signals of hunger, cues, and fullness. And this is really important. So if you want to practice noticing your hunger cues, sign up for my 7-day intuitive eating challenge by clicking right here. So you can practice that. You also need to make sure you're getting enough sleep. Under 6 hours is not enough sleep. So focus on getting good sleep and striking a good life balance of work, play, family, movement, rest, relationships, and the stress surrounding all those things. So stress management will be critical as well. And then you also need to make sure you're honoring your hunger so you don't get to a state of primal hunger, which tends to lend itself to overeating. When you're overly hungry, you tend to overeat. And for tips on how to do that, watch this video. So these are other principles of intuitive eating. And then next, you should evaluate if you're depriving yourself. If you, which many dieters do. So if you've been dieting for a long time, you probably have deprived yourselves, and it lends itself to overeating. So learning more about making peace with food so you don't deprive yourself, you can watch this video right here. And again, that's another principle of intuitive eating. So step 2, now that we've figured that out, are we eating because we're not taking care of ourselves or deprivation? If you've gotten that and take care of, like, okay, I'm taking care of myself, I'm not depriving myself. Okay, let's actually see if then that means you're emotionally eating. So let's dive into that. There are certainly cons for eating emotionally. Like, we know, like, this is probably not a good thing, but there's pros as well. So let's explore those. Let's start with exploring how you might have used eating as a coping mechanism. So sit down, make a list of when you've eaten too much or too little, and when you ate for any reason disconnected from actually being hungry. List the positive ways emotional eating has helped you, such as comfort, distraction, or respite from feelings. So those are pros of emotional eating. And then list ways emotional eating has negatively affected your life. I'll get it. Such as isolation, physical discomfort, and numbing positive feelings. And please be kind with yourself here. So just notice these things from a non-judgmental point of view. And this exercise is only to bring awareness to the tools that you use to cope the best you could at that time. So just bring awareness to it. And then step 3, we're going to identify your emotional triggers. So after you've done that, we're going to identify these emotional triggers. So some things that may trigger you. You may use food to calm your anxiety if you suffer from anxiety. You are eating something to do out of boredom. I think we've all been there. You are rewarding yourself after completing a task or a chore. I think a lot of parents do this. They reward kids with food for being good. Is that really a good thing? I don't know. Celebrating an event like a wedding. Eating because you feel emptiness. Eating because you're excited. Using food as a friend because you feel lonely. You eat because you're angry. Eating as a way to let go or release because you've been too strict, and this is kind of like a dieting thing, or you've controlled things for too long and you just want to let go and release, and you're going to just eat what you want to eat. Eating because of mild depression, because when you eat you get a serotonin hit, so it's going to make you feel better. Soothing yourself with food. Eating because you're procrastinating. And stress eating. So make a list of, and there's probably more. Make a list, sit down, make a list of your emotional triggers. And then step 4, become aware of when you're eating emotionally and the feelings that you're having, reactions you're having, and the body signs associated with each one. This will definitely take some practice. Use the emotion sensation wheel here, over here, to help you identify with them. I love the emotion sensation wheel. You feel something in your body and you can associate that with an emotion, and it helps you really dig deep and simplifies, because sometimes it's hard to know what you're feeling, right? So sensation wheel I really like. So definitely use that as a tool. And then step 5, we want to try to heal emotional eating. And this step has 3 parts. So the first part is self-care, nurturance, and compassion. Step 2 is learning to sit with your feelings. And step 3 is helpful distraction. In part 1, every human requires basic needs for self-care, like getting enough sleep and rest, sensual pleasure, expression of feelings, intellectual and creative stimulation, and comfort and warmth. These are basic needs that we as humans have. So ask yourself, how often do you put others' basic self-care needs in front of your own? And then make a list of things that you like to do for self-care, like playing with your pets, listening to music, dancing, taking a walk, getting a massage, meditating. Make a list of those things that you like to do for self-care. And then part 2, learn to sit with your feelings. This can be overwhelming for a lot of us. I think a lot of us stay super busy so we don't have to deal with our emotions. But it's important to take the time to notice what you're feeling. So try this exercise next time you want to eat and aren't physically hungry. Before you eat anything, find a quiet place without distractions and set a timer for 5 minutes. And then notice your emotions, notice your triggers that you're having right now. And when that timer goes off, ask yourself, do you still have the desire to eat? And if you do, ask yourself, what do you need in that moment to deal with your feelings? And then keep practicing this every time you want to eat but aren't physically hungry. And then part 3 is helpful distractions. This this is real life. Like, we can't sit down every time and take 5 minutes and do that. So sometimes just a healthy distraction will help ease the pain. So make a list of positive distractions you enjoy, like going to the movies or watching a movie at home, listening to music and dancing around, playing games or cards, or reading a book. So make that list. So you're going to have these things to help you now to break free of emotional eating. So your self-care activities, sitting with yourself and feeling your feelings, identifying those feelings and what you need at that moment to deal with those feelings, and then also a healthy distraction. So these are going to be tools in your toolbox to help you learn to deal with your emotions besides eating something. And this will take time and practice. And I hope you've enjoyed these 5 steps to help you break free of emotional eating. If you did, leave me a comment or any questions to let me know what you think of this video, and share with someone you think it might help. And if you like this video and want to watch all of the intuitive eating principle videos, go ahead and check out this playlist right here. And then until next time, bye for now, guys.